Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm going to show you a quick trick of how to pull the RAM out of a laptop. This is a little dusty here, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's just show that it posts. And it has a hard disk drive in it, so it's going to take a minute. I just want to show you that it boots. Let's go to the boot menu if we can. I already skipped it. Too late. Now we get to see Hewlett-Packard in all of its glory. And so you can see it post. Anyway, now that you see it post, let's go ahead and shut it all the way down. And let's close it. Turn it over. And let's take the battery out, because that is an additional source of power, and if you're not earth grounded or wearing a magnetic wrist strap, I recommend you do so if you're new with computers and don't know what you're doing. If you do know what you're doing, however, keep on following along. And as you can see here, the screw is a little wonky. It didn't want to come out, so had to force that a little bit. And the only toolkit I'm going to be using is Scribito. People like to use the iFixit kit, which is $80. This is $20.25 on Amazon, and this is my own magnetizer added to it. It comes with one, but I like mine better. And it comes with all of these tools, which is, I think, more than what comes with the iFixit kit, and is more than enough to get the job done, because all you really need is a Phillips head screwdriver. Let's go with the Phillips head 0, why not? And a screwdriver, and some band-aids, maybe pliers. Good knife never hurts. And you can pretty much get down to business. So let's go ahead and get this magnetized, and we will get this open. That's magnetized. Now we're pretty much done with the toolkit. All these tools that we do not need, but it's really helpful because it comes with a lot of proprietary stuff that Hewlett-Packard, Dell, all the other manufacturers will put in their crap to make it so you can't get into it. And I'm going to take my ring off, and let's unscrew this. This, inside of this HP 15 F20 F233WM, the RAM and the wireless card are housed in here. The hard drive, however, is not housed somewhere this easy to get at. That is the only reason I'm not showing you how to get at the hard drive right now. Only the RAM, and because I upgraded it in this computer. So let's go ahead and get to that. Unscrew this as far as we can. That's about it for that. And then I'm going to unscrew this one. Again, about as far as I can get it. And this has little plastic prongs that push up, which is why I say a pair of pliers or a good knife never hurts if you know what you're doing. Again, you don't want to mess up your screws, and you don't want to mess up your hardware. You want to know what's under here before you do anything like this. Okay, so now that we're down to the stick of RAM there, and we can zoom in on that, you can already see that I installed a 8GB HyperX stick. This is DDR3L, which means DDR3 laptop. Basically, it's 1600 megahertz, just like the stock one that came with it. But I'm not going to dig out because there's not a point. And say you wanted to remove the laptop RAM memory, whatever you want to call it. You want to remove it. There are two metal prongs on each side. There's one in focus, one camera, Hope that half of my video is going to be focusing the camera. Okay, so there's a metal prong here, and there's a metal prong over here. Make sure you are earth grounded, and make sure if you're grabbing RAM, if it has a heat shield like this one does, like this HyperX piece here, this is a heat shield, grab it by that. Do not grab it by the pins on the end up here. So simply, you can just do one at a time. One over there, just move it off, and move this one off, and then it'll just pop right up like that. If you want to take it out, just take it out like that, and that's it. If you've ever installed an M.2 drive or done anything similar like that, it is basically the same thing. Again, grab it by the edges and by the heat guard, never by the pins, because you can hit electrostatic discharge, and that's a whole nother lesson I'm not trying to get into right now. And if you want to install the RAM, same thing. It's kind of like doing an M.2 drive again. You do it at an angle. So you angle it down in there into this socket. See this socket here? We're going to angle it down into it. And look, the prong is always going to match up. You're always going to have that little missing latch, and it's always going to be there when you're plugging it in. Never force any of this. And plug it. It should sit. Shouldn't have to touch it, and then you should just have to push it lightly down. And it's going to snap past those metal pieces, and it'll be held into place. Next, all we have to do again is reinstall this plastic piece that I hate because it doesn't like to fit on very well. Do we want to just force it down and be a bad teacher? I might. Yeah, let's just do that, because I really don't like Hewlett-Packard, and I really don't like this piece. So let's get the plastic over the edges and force that down. Get your screwdriver handy and go ahead and screw it in. And you can use a drill if you want to, but it's again not recommended unless you're experienced and you know what you're doing, because if you don't, you will easily damage components. You overscrew it, you will end up stripping, doing everything you don't want to do with a screw. Okay? So even though we're forcing that down a little bit, it's okay. I got this from a pawn shop as is because the CD drive didn't work, but I got that working, and that's a story for a different day. So I got this for $60, and they wanted $199. Originally $289. That's a ripoff for Hewlett-Packard. Anyway, let's get his laptop back on, or let's get his battery back on, and zoom out. And I'm just going to turn it over and demonstrate that it posts again. So hit the power. It might be janky. I might have to replug it because sometimes the RAM and laptop does that. This might be one of those times. Or it's going to go ahead and power on. So that's really all you have to do to seat the RAM, unseat it, whatever you want to do. And in your laptop. If your hard drive is a hard disk drive like this one, and it's a dinosaur, then you really want to change it out, which is what I'm going to plan on doing with this. And then I'm going to plan on selling it afterwards, because now that I got 8 gigs of RAM instead of 4, I got 8 gigs of that HyperX, even though it's Intel, you know, integrated whatever piece of crap laptop card. It's going to have 8 gigs of RAM and an SSD, so it'll boot right up. and you can get your daily tasks completed with it. Anyway, guys, that's just basic laptop upgrading. Again, Phillips head, pair of pliers, a magnetizer, good knife never hurts. You just cut yourself. So you can get it all in one with the Gerber dime right here. Wow. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. I know I haven't made a video in a long time. And if you're wondering what the laptop is sitting on, this is from the late great Gary Holzman. Or I don't know if he's so late, but the great Gary Holzman started to get a lazy Susan. That way, when you're working on a computer, you can just rotate it around, and then you don't have to sit here and fumble with it all over your desk and move it all over the place, because that just gets to be a hassle. So, I appreciate you watching my now 11-minute video. Thanks for watching. You guys take it easy.